Nobody warns you that the day they hand you a cardboard box is the same day you realize you were never replaceable. I'm Marlene Faye Coulter, and for 21 years, I kept an entire company, running while almost nobody upstairs could even say my job title correctly. I started when it was 5 people, above a dumpling shop with one screeching fax line and no credit history. When the landlord refused to deal with a company that didn't exist yet, I put the lease under my own name so we'd have a roof at all. 2 decades later, I still knew every groaning pipe and cranky thermostat in that building, still unclogged toilets and chased raccoons out of ceiling tiles. While 3 different CEOs took credit for a company I quietly held together, then came the calendar invite. Quick sync with HR. I knew exactly what that meant. I walked in wearing my old gray cardigan and sat across from Brittany from HR and a lawyer who wouldn't stop stroking his folder. "Restructuring," she said, sliding over a severance package that spelled my name wrong. They wanted my badge, my keys, everything. I set it all on the table without a word, asked if she was sure, and left before I let them see me shake. That night, I pulled a hot pink folder from my closet labeled, "In case they try something stupid." Inside was the original 2002 lease. Buried in the fine print, renewal notice required 30 days before expiration. I checked the date. They'd missed it by 2 days. Nobody upstairs, drowning in their IPO fantasies and rebranding decks, had noticed the single deadline that actually mattered. I checked further. The insurance, the utilities, the cleaning contract, all still quietly running through me. They'd fired the one person still holding the building's legal skeleton together and never once asked who signed the lease. I could have warned them. I didn't. Instead, I called Denny, my old neighbor's kid turned real estate lawyer, and asked if he remembered that lease. He whistled long and low. I told him it was time they got everything they'd asked for. Literally. I met with Walter, the property manager, in my church shoes so I'd be heard coming. He confirmed it. No renewal notice on file. Under the lease terms, it had already converted to month. I handed him a formal 30-day termination notice as the legal tenant of record and told him I already had a replacement lined up, a wellness startup called Zenith Root, ready to pay triple the rent. I filed the eviction paperwork that night. The next morning, HR emailed asking me to confirm I'd returned all company property. I replied all yes, including the ones you forgot I had. 2 days later, certified mail landed at the office. A temp receptionist tossed it in the recycling, mistaking it for junk. Upstairs, execs kept polishing slide decks about disrupting verticals, oblivious that the ground had already shifted under them. I signed the new lease with Zenith Root at Denny's office. No hesitation. 21 years of institutional. Memory transferred to a company with a eucalyptus. Mood board and actual attention to deadlines. That night, I parked across from the building and watched the executive floor glow gold, clueless and doomed. I knew that by morning, a marshal would zip tie an eviction notice to the CEO's glass door, and he did. Brittany found it first, latte in hand, jaw dropping. By the time CEO Grant Wexler arrived unshaven, panic had already swept the floor. Legal scrambled. Someone finally pulled the court filing and read the plaintiff's name out loud. Mine. That evening, Grant called, voice cracking. "What the hell is going on? You can't do this." I poured a glass of wine and told him calmly, "I absolutely can." And I did. "You fired the person holding the entire legal and operational memory of this company and never once asked who actually signed the lease." He threatened consequences. I told him the board would do what boards always do, protect themselves, and that none of it would land on me. Because I had the paperwork, and Zenith Root had already wired 2 months' rent. Monday morning, I watched from a safe distance as the old team hauled office chairs and half-empty coffee machines into a rental truck under a clear blue sky, their CEO red-faced and furious, hurling a folding chair against the truck in front of a crowd filming on their phones. A courier arrived at my door that afternoon with a basket from Zenith Root, organic fruit, herbal tea, and a note thanking me for the space, and for the story that came with it. That evening, I hung the original brass key on a hook in my hallway, right next to my family photos. Not because it opened anything anymore, but because it once opened everything. And now, it finally closed the chapter exactly the way I wanted. Quietly, legally, and completely on my own terms.